Hi Mike, this is Dr. Jester. This is in reference to your Worldview Outline paper. So I wanted to go over that with you briefly. I've got some things I really need to discuss with you on that. Let's look at the very beginning. First off, the very first thing that I noticed is there's no title page, meaning there is no author's name, there's no information about the class, no date of the assignment or what the assignment is for. Always include a title page. Make sure that your name is on the document somewhere. I usually just try to let you know that that's something you need to do. I do know some professors who will turn a paper back with a grade of 0 when they don't have a name. I am not that way, but always make sure to include your name. Your thesis is good. I have no clue what this box is with the number 50 in it. I'm assuming that's just a technical error that got placed in the document and was not edited out. So here are some of the bigger issues. Everything that I've highlighted in red is showing that it is from a source and not properly cited. So all of these are the exact words of the source that Lopes-Wright is identifying. And when Lopes-Wright identifies that, it also gives the name of the source. In this case, it's from something called Mafia Docs. But every single one of these is word for something located on that website. And most probably, you got some information meant to properly cite it, but did not. You do have on this one a footnote giving credit to the source, but here's the problem. These are the words of the source. If you don't place those words of the source in quotation marks, it's basically saying, I rewrote what the author said, but this is his idea, which in this case you did not. These are the author's words. That's considered plagiarism. It's not something you intend to do. It's just something that happens if you don't cite it correctly. So always make sure if you use the words of a source, just like you've got right here on the Bible, you quoted a Bible verse, put quotation marks around it. Anytime you do that, you must have quotes around material borrowed from a source. Second of all, I want to go to the instructions on this document. These are the assessment details. So right now you're providing an outline. If you read what it says right here, says this outline, the one you just wrote, will build to a final submission essay in the last topic of 1,250 to 1,500 words. This particular outline, full sentence, outline points with references, should be between 500 and 750. Let's look at what yours is. It is almost 2,000 words. What we have here is way more than what was necessary. And in all honesty, this should be revised. You have to pay attention to what the instructions say, and when you give me 4 times as many as what is called for, it really is difficult to grade accurately. The other problem I've got here, so anytime I start seeing this material, I look at the Lopes-Wright report. And so when I look up here, it says there's a similarity index of 41%. What does that mean? It says 41% of your material is similar to quotes from elsewhere. That's fine, but then this percentage right here, 35%, means that you're quoting way too much. You're letting the source, whether that's the Bible or elsewhere, make your argument. And in fact, it is a requirement that when you have an originality score of over 20%, I give a warning between 20 and 30. It is supposed to be a revision anything over 30. So in this case, 35%, you should revise the document. As this is the first time that this has happened, I'm going to not require that this time. But please note that this is something you have to pay careful attention to. For example, is it necessary to quote verbatim Hebert's definition of worldview? Not really. You could just write in a summarization of, in your own words, the definition of worldview, and then give him credit with a footnote. Is it necessary for you to quote these scriptures here? No. All you have to do is say God created and sustains everything according to John chapter 1 and verse 3 and Colossians 1:16 and 17. So you don't have to quote verses. When you quote verses, you're basically letting them say what you can summarize in a statement. Same thing here. God created humanity in his own image, Genesis 1:26. You don't have to quote the verse. All of these quotations, they're long. They take up a lot of space. All you've got to do is reference the scripture. You don't have to exactly quote it. Other than that, you've got way more material than is needed here. This is an outline that you're just providing some structure to, and then at the end of the class, you're going to fill in this outline with an actual essay. So this is what you want between 5 and 750 words, and then your final product will be 1250 to 1500. For example, here, there's just a lot of information here that you don't need at this time. And so be careful about too many quotes. Any future documents that have a quote that is not properly cited, I will ask you to revise that, and it will be 10%. And the same is true if you have a percentage of quotations over 20% of the document. That just simply means that you're dependent too much on the source to make your argument, and not enough of the material is originally yours. Okay? I want you to be aware of that. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. One final note here. You've been writing and writing and writing a lot of information, and you get to this point and it kind of goes to what you probably should have been doing all along. A much more brief, succinct information. But if you're going to say worldview is complex, you can't leave it at that. What does that mean? If transformation is complex, it's a process. Say something more about it, but not too much more. All right, any questions, just watch the video and then let me know, okay?